Hello and Happy New Year to everyone out there listening in the internet. We appreciate your ears. I'm Miho, co-host of the 2CLOSE2CALL podcast, and we have a great show scheduled for you today. It's about 35 minutes long with two different segments. In the first segments, for the first 25 minutes, we jump all around the sports community. We touch on the NFL, college football, NBA, MLB. We go through 8 hot takes that I have written down that I bounce off of Pags to get his thoughts, see where he stands, and then I give a little bit of a rebuttal. So we think you'll be interested to see where we stand on some of these topics, as well as we're interested in hearing back from yourselves. And we'll talk about that in future episodes. But then we close the episode with about 10 minutes on Philadelphia sports, jump all around the pro sports teams, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, give our take on what's currently happening within their respective communities. So we appreciate you guys listening. Come on in. We have a great show for you, and let us know how we did.
Coach, you were 5-79 last year. Why the playoff talk?
Well, we made a couple of key trades, and we got the funk.
Oh, well, glory be, the funk's on me, Bob.
Keep that funk alive. Keep that funk alive.
Well, it's 1975, and we'll just be keeping the funk alive.
Do that funk. Just do that funk.
So what that?
Do that funk. Yeah, just do that funk. Just do that funk.
Hello, it is January 2nd, and welcome to the second episode of the Too Close to Call podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Miho. I'm here with my boy,
Pags, what's going on, everybody?
Pags. What's up, man? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. It's a great 2019 kickoff of this podcast.
Yeah, right? Here we go. Hit the ground running. So, new year, new me, obviously, right? What New Year's resolution are you hitting us with?
Basically trying to not be fat anymore. I just want to...
I want to be healthy. I want to work out.
Yeah,
I want to eat.
I've gotten way too close to flirting with my weight from when I was playing offensive line in college, so I realized I need to get further and further away from that. So, the whole eating healthy, prepping your foods, prepping meals for the wife and the kid, and then basically just trying to work out consistently.
Yeah, there you
Do
go.
want to run a half marathon in 2019, get back to doing that again.
You know that's like 13 miles, right?
Hey, I've done 3 of them.
Done 3 of
What's
them.
4?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Need a sundial to time you.
Hey, first one I went under 2 hours, and the next 2 I...
Well, that sounds like
so
torture.
Slower, but hey.
I love it. But
How about you? What are you thinking?
oh, standard stuff, man. Eating healthier. As I say, my wife's baked a cake for me upstairs because we're getting into that for the birthdays coming up here in January and February. So, but no, I'm actually going to hit a 30-day yoga challenge since my old fat ass the other week literally blew my back out, caused some back spasms because I fucking coughed violently the other morning. So that was the wake-up call to fucking touch my toes again once a day.
Classic old age.
Oh, dude, the worst. I hate it.
I just feel like my body hates me more and more every day I wake up.
Right. But like I mentioned, this is going to be our first full-length episode. Pags and I did record a few days ago, but as I was editing and trying to get it online, my computer decided to freeze, or I fucked up, and a combination of both. And here we are without a show for you guys, but we're going to try to get one out today, so hopefully this one will transition over.
It was the greatest show ever heard.
I think it was. I literally, that was the initial feedback I was getting from the test.
Or should I say never heard?
From the test group. So, but hey, number 2 episode right off the bat. Who's your favorite number 2 athlete who wore the jersey number 2 of all time?
I mean, standard is Derek Jeter, but I'm not like standard people. I absolutely could not stand Derek Jeter. My wife was a big Derek Jeter fan. I can't stand him.
Fuck the Yankees.
I'm going to go old school here. Larry Johnson, Grandmama, Charlotte Hornets, one of my favorite growing up. UNLV Rebel, star of Space Jam.
The star of Space Jam.
My favorite Monstar, the green one. Loved it. He goes, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready. Water going right to the right side of his face. Yeah, it's all in our head, Muggs. Love
Muggsy.
Larry Johnson.
Oh, shit. That's a good one. Myself, being a Michigan guy, obviously, I'm going with the only primary defensive player ever to win the Heisman Trophy.
Good one.
Mr. Charles Woodson. Yep.
He's a beast.
Right. So
Animal.
97 beat out Peyton Manning for the Heisman growing up. He was one of the reasons I think I took to the Wolverines at an early age.
He was what, 24 in professional, but 2 Michigan.
2 at Michigan, and I think he repped it professionally at some time. But you're right, he did switch to 24 during his time with either the Packers or back with the Raiders.
Deepest voice ever on Monday Night Countdown.
Still repping the Go Blue. He was so pissed when Ohio State hammered him.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were.
Now it's time for our first segment of the episode. First of 2 segments today. We're going to do a segment called Take It With a Grain of Salt, where we're going to throw takes at each person, and the other person is going to decide whether it's a hot take or a cold take, and we're going to take a stance and kind of see what our thoughts are there. So I got a hodgepodge of topics here. I got 3 NFL, a couple NBA, college football. So what do you think, Bags? You ready to go?
Hit me.
All right, first hot take. Dwayne Haskins, Ohio State quarterback, will be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft, and in 2 to 3 years will be on the same level as Wentz, Goff, and Watson.
Oh, my God. Cold. Fucking cold.
Don't like it.
No.
Guy almost threw for 5,000 yards, Pags.
I understand that.
Big Ten records.
I'm just not a big fan of his. I mean, I just picture seeing his mopey ass at the Heisman just standing there, sitting there. I don't like Ohio State. I'm just going to be honest with you. He might be a good player, but I don't think he's on the level of Wentz and all those guys.
New York Giants salivating at number 6. Early rumors on the mock draft boards.
What do you think?
I think he's going to be the top QB taken. I think the Giants may take a flyer on him at number 6. Bring back Eli Manning to kind of be the transitional guy for one more year, last year of his deal. See how the year starts, 0-4, 2-4, bring him in, 5-1, let him sit for a year. Kid can sling it though, man. I mean, against Michigan, it was literally as simple as he's a pocket passer, he read the defense, he found the mismatch, and he lit him up. So whether or not he can transition that to the next level, do some anticipatory throws, not just read and react, but kid's got all the tools and he can fucking sling it. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt right now and say I think he's going to be a good one.
Now, is he a 1-year starter?
1-year starter from Maryland, came in against Michigan late last year in the second half and pulled that game out too.
Right. 1-year experience. I just get bad taste in my mouth with quarterbacks coming out like that. He may be good eventually, but I don't know about right away.
All right. I can live with that. So Pags is going cold take. So second take, here we go. Antonio Brown requesting a trade, apparently going at it with Big Ben in practice. His request will be granted, and next year he will be playing for the Oakland/Las Vegas Raiders.
I definitely could see that. Yes, hot take. I love that. I could see him. I don't think he's coming back to Pittsburgh. All that shit that happened, all the what even he went to practice and then he left and then he got into a fight and then he showed up Sunday for the game and was like, "Hey, I'm ready to play."
So apparently early in the week they were going over hot reads or hot routes, and Big Ben and some other people gave him shit because he ran the wrong one. And then he got super pissed because he's underappreciated, didn't want to go again, pretty much threw a temper tantrum, left. Didn't show up to practice for the rest of the week, and then exactly like you said, apparently showed up Sunday expecting to play, and the Steelers were like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, thank God they actually did that, because I can't stand when these guys are freaking babied.
Now he's flirting with the 49ers on Twitter. Did you see that? George Kittle and him having a little bromance.
He does that all the time. He freaking throws it out there all the time. I could very well see Gruden, though. I mean, they have like 1 million draft picks. They have 1 million everything. They could give them anything they want.
Arizona Cardinals and Green Bay Packers, also at the top of the list, favored.
Arizona Cardinals. Josh Rosen. Ugh.
Fitzgerald retiring. A lot of money opening up.
Yeah. It just depends who's the coach. Who's going to be the coach at those two teams.
Tag team them in Indianapolis with Le'Veon Bell.
Hey, there you go. Hey.
So
Yeah, I'd be pumped to bring him into Philly.
I'm thinking you're right, though. Raiders, all those first rounders, him and Gruden, Derek Carr, might see some magic.
Absolutely.
Might see some magic.
Yeah.
Next take for you. LeBron James is now the greatest of all time because he beat the best team of all time, the 73-9 Warriors. This is, according to himself, in a recent uninterrupted / barbershop video that he had produced.
LeBron is I love watching him. Hated him going to LA. Really wanted him in Philly. He drives me nuts when he does shit like this because he's just so full of himself. And I would not put him on the level of MJ. I'd say MJ's still the GOAT. That being said, what LeBron did that series was unbelievable. And I will forever say that was the most impressive final series I've ever seen because he basically did that himself. Him and Kyrie hitting a couple shots.
So take the post fence out of your ass and pick a side.
Cold take.
Cold take. You're going Jordan.
Yes.
I don't know, man. LeBron, the way he rebounds, passes the ball, is a complete player. Jordan was just a scorer. Yes, he's got the 6 rings, the MVPs, all that, but LeBron all around. And I think LeBron's story is not finished. So for him to say something like this while he's in the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter in his career is a little bit early, in my opinion, to be throwing shit like this out there. Like, just keep your fucking mouth shut until you're done. If you take the Lakers in this fucking Titanic of a roster that they have and pull them into the playoffs, win a series or 2, let your play continue to do the talking for you, LeBron. I'm a fan of yours, but let it finish, and then we can truly have this discussion.
Fair enough.
All right, next take. Here we go. The Texas Longhorns, fresh off a win over Georgia last night, will make the college football playoff in 2019.
I could very well see this. Hot take. Love it. Big Texas fan. I think their coach really's got him going. I really like him a lot, and his name's escaping me, and it's driving me nuts.
Tom Herman. Hook him.
Herman. Going over, fighting Holkerson in West Virginia. I really think he's going to...
Holgerson, by the way, new Houston head coach. Did you see that news?
Yes, I did see that.
So he's gone. West Virginia loses their quarterback, receiver, a lot of things. Not going to be as good next year. Oklahoma loses another Heisman. Going to be a weaker team.
Kansas brings Les Miles in.
No, Texas.
Bring all these recruits into Kansas.
I agree.
No, I do think next year Texas is back. Texas hook 'em. I think they're going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Big 12 next year.
Number 3 recruiting class this past year. Number 9 this current year. So they're going to be right there. So if you have Texas, I'm assuming you have Clemson and Alabama. Who's the 4th you're putting in there right now on January 2nd?
Let's go with the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know you don't like to hear that.
I'll take it. I won't.
I just feel like Big Ten can't go 3 years in a row without freaking having a college football playoff team.
Fair point. And tremendous transition without even knowing it, Pags. My next take for you, Ryan Day, current coach at Ohio State as of today, is already the best coach in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Well, you got me there because I hate Franklin so freaking much.
Not a good showing by him, kicking the field goal, 6 minutes left. The Twittersphere fucking pissed.
I couldn't believe that. Harbaugh driving me nuts with his stubborn ass, and I know he drives you nuts.
Got to make some adjustments.
Say him or Ferentz from Iowa. Love him. You can't discount D'Antonio and Michigan State either. I'd say cold take. There's too many good coaches in that area.
Cold take. And I'm still taking Jim Harbaugh based on his track record. Ryan Day, up and coming, phenomenal coach. But I'll take the 5 to 10 years of success rate, winning 10 games at Michigan, 3 years in a row, top recruiting class coming in next year. First time in the Big Ten that's happened. So I'm going to run with my boy Jim Harbaugh for 1 to 2 more years. Let Ryan Day get some games in the win-loss column before we crown him.
Yeah, hopefully Harbaugh doesn't keep the streak alive with him. Hopefully he gets a win against the old Buckeyes.
All right, next take. The Browns' head coaching job in the NFL is the top coaching job available.
Absolutely hot take. think you got a young up-and-coming Baker. You got a defense that plays its balls off this year. You got Nick Chubb, young running back. You got Jarvis Landry, team leader, receiver. You got that Antonio Callaway. You got Njoku. I mean, a decent O-line that's only going to get better. Great defensive line with Myles Garrett. I mean, I think if you're the AFC North as a Steelers fan, as a Ravens fan, especially as a Bengals fan, especially if they hire Hugh Jackson, you guys got to be worried about Cleveland actually putting together something next year. I personally wish Greg Williams would get the job because I love listening to him talk.
Hell of a character.
If you're allergic to the word fuck, don't come into my meetings. He's the best. But no, I mean, some people probably would say Packers, but you got to deal with Aaron Rodgers.
So that's where I'm going, man.
He's a tough dude to talk with.
Cold take.
From what they say.
Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers. You're telling me as a coach, you don't want the number 1 or number 2 greatest quarterback in the game today, possibly ever, as he finishes his career. You don't want to coach him and say, hey, I'm going to hitch my wagon to that guy?
Yeah, but are you an offensive or a defensive coach? Like, you know what I'm saying?
2019, man, you got to score points. 30 a game. Ask the LA Rams if they're going offensive or defensive. Get Jeff Fisher back in there.
Oh, I hope he gets a job somewhere, too, because he's the best.
No, he's done too, but I don't know. I think the Browns certainly an appealing job. Baker Mayfield, I am a Baker Mayfield fan, but 1 year doesn't define a career, and I'm going with the MVP, the Super Bowl champion Aaron Rodgers, and I'm taking the Packers job if I have my choice.
What about Bruce Arians? You think he's going to end up in Cleveland?
I think one of the two, or even the Jets. They have a young quarterback that's also appealing. I know their defense isn't quite on the level of the Browns, but you know, young quarterbacks, you can steal an extra year or two if you have that good young quarterback.
Yeah.
3 takes left here, Pags. 3 takes left. The next one, a little bit less on the serious side here on these last 3 as well. So, last night, if you didn't see the video, Bevo, Texas's Longhorn mascot, attacks Uga, 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 the name of the bulldog, the mascot.
Yeah.
A battle between live mascots from all of these teams would be more entertaining than 75 to 80% of these actual fucking bowl games.
Oh, 100%. They'd be amazing.
Everything before Saturday, before December 29th, these bowl games, couldn't give 2 shits about.
And they were brutal to watch. Did you see that Cheez-It Bowl? Freaking TCU Cal?
Thank goodness,
the
no.
TCU quarterback was, 4 for 15 with, 8 yards passing? It was brutal.
And then they line them up so there's only one game on every time. And then come December 31st and the 1st, we have overlapping games. LSU, UCF, and Penn State, Kentucky are overlapping. Are you fucking kidding me?
Unbelievable.
So pissed.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you're giving me App State, whoever, and then Toledo, whoever, all separate times, and then you're giving me 6 different games at once. And it really is crazy. What happened to the January 2nd games, the January 3rd games? Now these college football playoffs have effed everything up.
Eliminated those games.
Unreal. I love the January 2nd bowl. We're going to be in withdrawal in once the college football championships Monday, we have NFL playoffs Saturday and Sunday, and then it's just NFL after that.
Second to last hot take here, or just a take in general. Andrew Wiggins got his homemade space brownies mixed up with his mom's holiday brownies, which caused him to forget his jersey and then shoot 5 of 12 from the free throw line and call out his home fans. He had to be high as shit.
Sure, he had to be high as balls to be able to do shit like that. But I was going to say, I was like, this kid is an idiot. And now that I hear this, yeah, hot take, high as balls.
Now, having said that, we'll give the cold take version and some of the excuses. Have you ever forgotten to put on anything in your football career or left something in the locker room? No?
I would have major anxiety. Nope, lied. Sophomore year, you were on the team, high school. We go over. We have to take the bus over to the stadium. I grabbed my right shoe, 13, size 13. Left shoe was a right shoe, and it was a size 11. I had to jam my foot in there because I was too afraid to tell Coach Volosky that I forgot my other cleat.
So you had two of the same shoe on.
One was 2 sizes too small.
Did you get blisters?
Fuck yeah. My fucking back was killing me, too. That was before I even knew what back pain was. Well, thank God I barely got any reps, and I ended up breaking my fucking femur 2 weeks later, so it just put me out of my misery.
Jesus.
But yeah, that was the only time. Not college. I would have straight anxiety packing my bag and everything, but usually everything got there. And once we were in college, I mean, they had backup shit in case we did.
So I didn't forget something, but I do have a story about not being prepared in college.
Weird.
Right? A little procrastination. So freshman year, I'm just a pitcher, and I am number 1 in relief for the first 3 games of the weekend, / if I'm not you, starter of game 4 in conference play. So it's the first game of day 2. 7-inning game, the starter has been solid all year. So I'm sitting there in the dugout, 8 o'clock in the morning, first pitch, knowing that I'm first in relief or I'm starting the second game. So I have my turf shoes on, not my cleats, just chilling at the end of the dugout like we're good. All of a sudden, this fucking kid gets hit around, walks 3 to 4 guys. It's like 3-0, 4-0 in the first inning. Coach looks down, says, "Mahalik, get hot." And I'm like, all right, fuck. Okay, so I run around behind the dugout, taking my fucking turfs off, trying to put my cleats on. And while I'm putting my cleats on, I hear, "Why is he not fucking throwing yet?" And I'm like, oh shit. So continue to put my shoes on. I hear somebody go, "He's putting his cleats on." And I go, "He doesn't have his fucking cleats on. He's not ready. Corey, go get hot. Mahalik's done. He's done. Sit down." And I come around. I start sprinting down to the bullpen. He's like, "Mahalik, sit down." And I turn around. I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because you weren't ready." I'm like, "It's my fault for not having my cleats on because this asshole can't get a fucking out?" And he goes, "Sit the fuck down." And let's just say I was done for the day. So
Just calling out your coach on that one.
oh my God. I'm like, listen, just because he's an asshole, I get in trouble? Yeah, I should probably have my cleats on. But it takes fucking 10 seconds and like 3 pitches, dude. Get your panties out of a bundle.
So how'd you do that the next time you pitched?
Oh, not bad. I mean, standard. Freshman year, I actually had a good year. It was all downhill from there when I stopped giving a shit. So I concentrated more on hitting and was like, fuck, pitching hurts my arm. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, that's why you gotta use that stem on yourself.
All right, last take for you, and then we'll hit a transition, and this take will actually transition us into the last segment in which we'll kind of discuss the Philly sports for a few minutes, the Power Four. But the last take, the recent signing of Troy Tulowitzki to the Yankees for 1 year on a veteran's minimum is a precursor and means Manny Machado will ultimately end up in Philadelphia.
Yes. I just want to believe this, so I'm going to say yes. Hot take. I just want it to happen so badly. I've been so hurt by freaking LeBron and all these big signings not coming our way, and I just feel like this year with the Phils, it's time. Bring in some big names, and we're going to make some noise this year.
I'm going to go hot take too. We'll get into some reasons why in our next segment, but I do think Manny Machado ultimately ends up in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He said he's making the decision after New Year's, right?
That's the word. So within the coming days, we'll have something good for you.
Oh, God.
But no, we appreciate you guys listening to our Salt Bay Take It With a Grain of Salt segment. After this quick transition here, we'll get into the Philly sports segment of the show.
Later, guys.
Well, we made a couple of key trades, and we got the funk.
Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you listening to our last segment. In this segment, we'll discuss our local professional sports teams. And as we ended the last segment with a teaser of some Manny Machado, like I did say, I think he is going to end up in Philadelphia. But do you think that's a good idea, Pags, or do you think they should go after Bryce Harper?
I think they should go after both of them. I think this team has enough money to spend that we can end up with both of them. You don't want to go, say you're not going for Machado, and then Harper ends up in L.A. and you don't get either of them. That's the way I'm looking at it, because that's what happened with the whole NBA thing, and it drove me nuts with the Sixers. Now, it worked out getting Butler in the end, but I don't want to have to wait till mid-year.
I mean, the initial pipe dream and the trust the process is you get the Machado this year, your infielder. Then you have to wait 2 years, and you bring the local boy Mike Trout as your outfielder in for the 10-year
Hell
deal.
yeah.
Because if you get Bryce Harper, I think that may close the door on Mike Trout.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I think that's why there hasn't been genuine interest there in the Harper camp.
And the McCutcheon signing kind of points that way as well.
I do think they're ultimately going to have to go 10 years over the $300 million mark. I think the Yankees are going to give him something in the 7 to 8 year mark, and the Phillies are going to have to overpay. But I do think it's going to be a good investment, even though Johnny Hustle isn't coming to town.
That's all right. Jimmy Rollins didn't really hustle either. And everybody loves him.
Bench his ass for not running out pop-ups, Chuck.
And Gabe is a guy that can relate to a player like Manny.
There are rumors, though, that Gabe Kapler is one of the reasons that free agents don't want to sign here. They don't want to play for Gabe Pags.
Oh, God.
He's too fucking Gabe Kapler.
Right.
But we should have more news for you here in the coming weeks. Obviously, when Machado makes a decision, we'll have some thorough conversation on what that means for the future, the prospects, and kind of which direction they're going there. So stay tuned, and for the Phillies talk, we'll dive in more and more as spring training comes about. So
Absolutely.
Philadelphia Flyers, Pags. Stick a fork in them.
Get rid of them. Keep Carter Hart. Keep the young guys. Get rid of everybody else.
Giroux is the only one with a no-trade clause. Wayne Simmons is on the last year of his deal, so he's a rental, so you would assume he gets moved. Voracek still has 6 or 8 years left at about $6+ million. He's the only one with the large contract that has no trade clause. Has no trade clause, so he can be traded. He's the only one out of Couturier, Giroux, all those guys that they can freely move.
What about JVR?
I don't think they gave him a no-trade clause, but they did sign him fucking 3 months ago.
I understand that, but they all suck.
So you're going total blow-up. Fucking sell them all.
I can't stand it. Bring a new coach in.
Well, he's only an interim through the end of the year, so that's going to be a new coach.
That's what I'm saying. Next year, get a new coach, and let's just...
So the
Flyers are
saying,
frustrating.
the saying you need to know is lose for Hughes. Jack Hughes, #1 overall prospect, USA, coming out. Apparently he's one of those Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews generational talents that is the bona fide #1 overall player. So we are right now 1 point ahead. There's 2 teams with 34 points, 2 teams including us with 35 points, but the Lose for Hughes campaign, I believe, has begun.
All right.
So here we go. We're getting young.
Like Nolan Patrick, where we're getting everybody, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, they all go. Then the next year we get the second pick, and Nolan Patrick's a good player, but God. Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid.
Need more out of him. Need a solid defenseman moving forward. We got all these kids, but no veteran. I guess our veteran's Andrew McDonald, and he's probably the worst hockey player in the NHL.
Yeah, you hate him.
He's bad. Even all the analytics say he's terrible. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, but next up, the Sixers. The only bright spot, was the only bright spot until about a month ago. When we had a turnaround, which we'll get to. But
a man with a massive appendage came into town.
That's right. So the second bright spot, the Sixers. Joel Embiid gets back on the floor and they get back into the win column. Conspiracy or coincidence?
No, he is the most dominating player in the NBA right now. People cannot stop him, and he makes this team go. And I think that shitty performance before in Portland, when Brett came out and said that this just shows how important Joe is to us, I think he really needed to hear that. And I think he is the heart and soul of this team. I mean, Simmons and Butler are great, but freaking Embiid's the best. Getting headbutted and going, why the fuck are you going for that rebound?
Him and Simmons going at it a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you think that'll ever iron out, or do you think that'll cause some friction?
I think they're fine. It just, if Simmons is as much of a prima donna as we think he is.
He's
dating
Kendall Jenner, so I don't know.
Oh, God.
Apparently she's a positive influence, though. Did you read that?
No, I did not.
So apparently there's been times the owner of the Sixers, Rubin, he's literally on record of saying that he talks to Jenner quite often, and there's been multiple times where it's been late at night and Ben Simmons wants to go out, have some dinner, a drink or two, and apparently Kendall Jenner says, no, you need to get some rest, you have a game tomorrow.
I can't see that actually happening.
She's a positive influence, according to the owner.
Interesting.
So we'll wait and see, but apparently she's like, listen, I have enough fucking money. You don't need to be the star of the show. Keep fondling Embiid's balls.
She has so much money.
So much money.
So much money.
Oh, shit. So, the team of the city, the heartbeat right now, the pulse, the Philadelphia Eagles get the Chicago Bears. Wild card playoff football, Pags. Unbelievable.
Da Bears, help us out, and now we get to play them.
Rooting for you to hating you in a matter of 5 seconds.
I mean, did they make the right decision? I mean, I think I'd rather play Kirk Cousins.
5.5-point favorites
MVP.
against us. Still favorites.
Yeah, but, I mean, I've seen Khalil Mack against Lane Johnson. I mean, Lane Johnson can hold his own. Our O-line's getting better. The only thing that worries is my secondary, and the Bears' passing game isn't elite. We got to stop Tariq Cohen.
So one of the main matchups, like you just mentioned, I think is in the trenches.
Yeah.
Looking at Trubinsky, he's actually not terrible when he's under pressure. Like Jared Goff, his game tanks when there's people around him.
Correct.
Trubinsky actually does okay for a second-year guy. So the Eagles are not only going to have to get pressure, but actually get to the quarterback.
He's a quick dude.
Michael Bennett, Fletcher Cox. Apparently they're going to work Timmy Jernigan in a little bit more in the run game since Jernigan's been back. I don't know if this is coincidence since he's only playing about 20 snaps a game, but they've only given up 82 yards rushing, which is an average of 41 a game. Now, I know the Redskins stink, and the Texans, without Lamar Miller, didn't exactly have a fierce rushing attack, but if they can make Chicago one-dimensional, make Trubinsky beat you, I think we're going to have ourselves a football game.
I sure hope so, man. This team, it seems to have that, I don't want to say it because I don't want to sound cliche, but that magic they had last year, it seems like it's back. And it drives me nuts when I think of the Sunday night game against the Rams when Collinsworth just kept going. It just feels like this team is ready to do something big again. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, Collinsworth. But now I'm starting to see it. Like, maybe they will.
One more hot take for you is Nick Foles' rib injury is actually from the hit he took from Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah. He got hammered, that one.
He barely got touched on the D end on the one with Lane Johnson, and Johnson was like, what the fuck, dude? You just ran right into a sack. Now I have a sack on my record. Oh, and you're hurt? You didn't even get hit.
Yeah, definitely from Clowney. That shit, he got hammered.
Apparently it was illegal. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, we could have an entire podcast about the reffing.
Right. So I'm sure we'll get into it. But for this Friday's podcast, we're actually going to bring on a friend of mine, Tony Manville from the Chicago area, currently resides in Minnesota. He's going to be our Bears expert, where we're going to ask him a few questions about his thoughts, the local media's thoughts, how they're feeling going into the game. He was actually at the Bears-Vikings game this past Sunday in Minneapolis, chugging beers in people's faces while doing the Skol chant. So he's,
I love those.
He's going to be a nice little personality to get on the cast to kind of give his insight and ultimately his thoughts and prediction on the game. So we appreciate you guys listening in. That's about it for episode 2. Hopefully this one will make it onto the internet so you guys can give it a listen and we're not just continuing to fucking take practice takes here. So Pags, why don't you let them know how they can listen, follow us, interact, and hopefully become more involved as this continues to roll forward.
Yeah, guys, hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at 2CLOSE2CALL. That is the number 2. Hit us in our comments. We will get back to you. We want to know what you guys think, what you guys like, what you guys don't like.
Let me know how wrong Pags is going to be in these hot takes.
That ain't gonna happen. I'm dead on everything, buddy.
Yeah, because I'm kicking your ass in these bowl games.
Well, fuck, I kicked your ass last year. It's bullshit. I gave you a fucking olive branch last year picking Georgia over Alabama when I knew Alabama was gonna win.
Well, you're the one changing picks, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, change them to the wrong ones. Fuck.
So
fucking Virginia Tech.
Yes.
But yeah, Facebook page, 2CLOSE2CALL podcast. You guys hit us up on all our social medias. We will get back to you. We will make adjustments. We will reach out to you. We'll talk about your comments on the show. Hope you guys enjoyed this first one, and hope we'll get back on Friday. Break down playoff football. Get ready for that national championship game, and
give our picks, baby. Make some money.
Absolutely. know, maybe not listen to me because I've been shitty lately.
Clean slate. So.
Oh, man. So, all right, Kev.
Yeah, we love you out there, listeners. We appreciate you. So stay tuned.
Yeah, guys. Talk to you on Friday.
Peace.